African Renaissance Television reiterates its firm resolve, and we declare we are ever more committed to work with African countries, African leaders.
The truth is that cooperation and unity, integration are all meaningless if they are not based upon a vision of the Africa we want.
Of course, we have to give credit to His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, because he was really the father of Africa.
Africa has a great wealth, more than any other continents, but unused by Africans.
The voice of Africa to the world, the voice of Africa in Africa. That is what we need.
African Renaissance Television Service commits itself to closely working with you all to soon bring that entity, Africa and Africans so much aspire, to make it an expeditious reality.
Ours be on this Africa Day of coming together to finally give birth to humanity's long overdue humanity.
Just get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Say, don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Just don't give up the fight.
Welcome, RCTV families. This is our special recap of the diplomatic event hosted by Africa Renaissance Television Services in collaboration with Skylight Hotel Ethiopia and many other organizations. So today, me and my colleagues will try to review what kind of event was hosted, how the event went, and what kind of programs were included in it. So it is with great pleasure that we ask you guys to dive into the highlights of the event and the meaningful partnership that made it all happen. So today, myself, Agabelai, and my colleague Brooke Asegid and Damek Afrehot will try to reflect what kind of event was hosted, and at the same time, how the event went, what kind of programs were included in it. So it is with kind pleasure that we ask you to dive into the highlight of the event and the meaningful partnership that made it all happen. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So how was the event in general?
First of all, I would like to acknowledge everyone involved in the preparation of that day. For it to become such a huge success, a lot had to be put in. The Africa Day celebration hosted by Arts TV in partnership with the Skylight Hotel was truly a monumental event, which included exhibitions that featured so many homegrown and continent-grown businesses that will intertwine Africa in the future. I'm sure Brooke will get into that later in detail.
Yes.
And it started from the exhibition and went on to the Afrocentric that showed the past, present, and future of African fashion and where it can be, where it could go, and how one culture can influence the other, and how that can bring something so beautiful. And Aga, I'm sure you have a lot to say regarding the fashion segment. The next truly captivating, embrace-taking moment was the keynote speeches.
Yes.
That was given by many influential people, both in Ethiopia and throughout Africa. And Brooke?
Yeah, definitely. I think, the keynote speeches were very significant in terms of outlining the direction of how African medias can function in the future, especially as the primary organizer of this event was arts. African Renaissance Television Services.
Brings us the name.
Yeah, proudly. As our media house was the organizer of the event, many of the keynote speakers, including the top management, the board directors, including other dignitaries from Africa and outside of Africa, highlighted the significance of such media houses in propagating the African agenda. So it was the keynote speeches were quite significant, as Dhammaka said.
I hope they will bring a lasting change. In the
Definitely.
minds
I
of-
mean, yeah, that's eventually things have to be materialized. So as we were celebrating the 60th anniversary of the African Union and the 20th celebration of the Africa Day, which is basically Africa Day is the celebration of the African continent, the African Union. And the African Union has put as an obligation to member states that on that day, member states should be putting up the African Union flag, singing the anthem of the African Union. Such obligations were put forward towards the...
Be that as it may, we do not celebrate Africa Day continentally as we should be. The same when we come to our country. So the initiative that African Renaissance Television took was a huge leap, especially an initiation that was taken by a private media company to gather all these influential people, diplomats, business tycoons, bank CEOs, and so on, to bring them all in one room in celebration of Africa's accomplishments and to give a platform of discussion of African future. It shows how much attention is given.
Yes.
And how much space is left untouched regarding these topics.
Definitely.
Especially-
Yeah, Saga, please go ahead.
Thank you. Especially Africa Day is not only about celebrating our African spirit, but also it's about acknowledging how far we have came as a nation and also the place where we stand, because knowing where we stand at the point, that level is really important, and also knowing where we want to go. You know, as the future of Africa, the future of the people of Africa is really crucial. So that's what Africa Day is. And it's very important, really, it's something that should be encouraged. And I'm really proud that African Renaissance Television Services took the first step as a media to celebrate and to host such kind of big event. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we will walk you through the event, highlight of the event in order. So I think we will be starting from the exhibition.
Yes, we'll be starting from the exhibition.
Yes.
Then comes the fashion show, then comes the keynote speeches, and finally,
And the cuisine.
and the cuisine.
Yes, definitely.
It was truly beautiful to see all those cultural foods from every corner of
Yeah.
the African continent.
We will be talking about that.
In one table. It's something beautiful, and I have never seen such a presentation.
Yes,
In
that
my
is true.
life.
Definitely, we have to give credit to Skylight Hotel for giving us such culinary magic.
Yes. So starting off with the exhibition,
Starting with the exhibition.
there are multiple. I mean, all the exhibitors were really fascinating. I was amazed and surprised how people were creative enough to start up their own businesses, their own NGOs, and multiple things. So we can mention some.
Yes, we can mention some. Some of the exhibitors were from real estate, NGOs, as you
Hayat, yes.
mentioned, different kind of networking businesses. Brooke will mention that, I'm sure, later. And it was
Fashion.
a combination of every diverse sector that was possible for integration. He specifically selected the exhibition participants by the value they would add. So
That is true. And I guess how many exhibitors were participated?
So there were more than 20 exhibitors there showing their products and services. It was quite fascinating in terms of seeing such a diverse array of businesses there. It was surprising that I saw a bank. It was surprising that I saw
Yes.
real estate. I saw
Digital marketing. I did
digital
have
marketing.
seen that.
Yes, digital marketing. Lots of leather products and one homemade
Shoes. I think,
and,
yes, shoes.
There was traditional attire from Tanzania, which was from the Swahili nation team.
Oh yes, yeah, that is true, yeah.
Which was very fascinating. So what I wanted to really highlight when seeing this business was, especially for seeing the banks such as Bank of Abyssinia and real estate, was these companies are seeking to expand throughout the continent. They understand the dynamics and the importance of intracontinental trade and the positive impact of this African continental free trade area that the African Union is heavily working towards.
So they want to take advantage of the 2063.
Yeah, the
AU
Agenda 2063. They're trying to tap into that potential. And at Arts, having facilitated such things for our business partners was quite an immense ordeal.
Exactly, Brooke. For example, Isaac Pidgeman, the watches. It is a combination of culture and technology in such an elegant way.
By the way, Isaac Pidgeman is also based in the Middle East, right?
Yes.
Primarily,
yes.
they started as a Persian product from Iran, and now they have expanded towards Ethiopia with their Giz watches,
yeah.
their Giz.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the way they integrated the culture with the modern in the way they brought out such elegance from it. And it shows that just we don't have to change our culture. We just have to know how to use it and we can market it.
Exactly. So, and one of the exhibitors that I want to mention are Annie Silver. So the Annie Silver, at first, it seemed ordinary. The jewelries seemed really ordinary. And when we started to talk with the owner of this company, he started to say this, the silver, the opal came from Wallo, came from Gondar, came from Bahar Dar. And I was like, okay, I mean, we have this much resources. It's just simple work that has to be done to make it finished goods and, take it to the market to sell. And it's just how everything in the exhibition was so Africa, the materials that they used. Especially we can also mention Kunjina Fashion, Kunjina Tasfai, the owner herself. The clothes that she makes tells Africa, tells the story. The colors, how perfectly finished it is, the raw materials used.
And we cannot pass without mentioning the products from Zallan. It shows how far we can take our laser products and
Yes.
how much of a big opening in the industry there is.
One of the most significant problems in the African economic sphere is we are not exporting finished products. We are exporting the raw materials, and companies in the Western world, even or in China, are taking these products into their most finished level, to their most nice level, and they're doing a work of value addition, and at the end of the day, gaining more than the owner of the resources is, especially with products such as coffee, leather, and textile. So,
speaking of the market also, one of the things is that we are raised to degrade our materials. It's much better for us to wear Gucci than African or Ethiopian made products, actually using such kind of products.
Exactly. I think we'll get into that when we try to cover the fashion show segment, because it showed, I'm sure you were very excited about that segment. You should have seen her face.
I think we should dive.
She wanted to start from that, honestly, today.
Yeah. So take us to the fashion show.
Yes, take us through the fashion show.
Thank you, finally. Well, the fashion show is not only a runway of models with different costumes. It's a means to tell our identity, speak about what we have. It's one way of expressing ourselves. And Africa Renaissance Television Services, while hosting Africa Day, it's impossible to not include fashion show, isn't it? Because that's one of the biggest benefits that we have as an Africans. So multiple designers have participated, like Edom Chiffon, Melchrist, there is Sally Design, and multiple other designers have participated. And this fashion show made it really authentic and really different, because the first one, the materials that they have used is fully
Homegrown.
Yes, homegrown, exactly.
Yeah.
The first one. Two, every designs have story to tell. So you're not only wearing them, you're not only being stylish, but at the same time, you're carrying history, you're carrying identity. you're speaking something. So what made the designs really different was because fashion is one means to create or to bring ideas, histories, and something that we can see and touch into the physical world. So the designers understood the assignment very well.
I'm gonna come in here and say, I will never forget your eyes and your reaction. Truly, Brooke, she almost ran to the stage. I'm sure she knows exactly what I'm talking about.
The Black Panther outfit?
You know her too well.
So I guess it was not only my
The
experience.
work with Kal.
Yes,
I
definitely.
feel like she's your favorite fashion designer in Ethiopia right now.
You can't, frankly speaking, every designer's worked hard. Their work showed Africa. It was outstanding, but hers, I'm not exaggerating, for real. Our audiences, we will leave that for them to judge. But when the entrance came, when the light went off, the music, the fact that she used black color, I feel like black represents Africa more. The fact that black is, dignity, it's power,
It's your perspective.
Exactly. So, I mean, it was. Oh my goodness.
It was
I can't
truly
even
amazing.
speechless, yeah.
The other thing I cannot go without mentioning are the models themselves. So, for our audiences, so one of the things I cannot pass without saying regarding the fashion show is the models. They were truly professional and top of their games. They presented and held the culture and the grace of the clothes until the end of the show.
Exactly.
So some of them, I would like to point out,
Sure, go ahead.
were consistent on Ethiopian's Next Top Model on the season 2.
Really?
Yes,
So
Malcolm.
they're Malcolm's models.
They were Malcolm's models. So
Yes.
she kept her promises
Oh,
of
definitely.
saying that we take it all the way.
Definitely.
Yes. So also, speaking of the fashion or the fashion show segment of the Africa Day we celebrated,
Brooke, I guess we're coming to you next.
may I say this before we pass on to the next?
Okay, I guess we can.
One of the things that I would love to appreciate the designers, and not only the designers that participated on Africa Day, but other African designers around the globe, is that how they are making the designs simple. You don't have to have any occasions to wear African clothes. You can wear it anytime. At the same time, it's simple, very beautiful, modern, and at the same time, very traditional. So it is like all in one. So, I mean, applause for all the designers. Yeah.
So I guess now we're going to go to the speeches. As you see, I'm more of interested in the policy issues and the way forward for Africa regarding and the impact of Africa Day on the overall longevity of this African Union. So let's talk about the keynote speeches.
So it's really hard to choose specific topics or specific speeches from the keynote lineup, because truly it was a stage of wisdom. It was a stage that connected Africa a little bit more. One of the keynote speakers in the opening speech was given by Daniel Balaina, CEO of Arts Television Services. So one of the things he hammered on was how Arts TV will become the voice of Africa. And it's not just words. You see it by everything we are doing now. You see it everything that we are planning to do.
Yes, with our shows.
With our shows and our focus and our goals. So it truly reflected and resonated with all of us.
That is true. So who else were our keynote speakers?
Well, let me just mention one of them because we need to very much highlight.
It is a highlight.
On the importance of his speech. Dr. Zojna Bayana, the chairperson of the board of directors of African Renaissance Television Services, made quite a fabulous speech.
Yes, truly beautiful. He emphasized on the power of idea and the role of the media in shaping perspectives.
That is so true.
I would like to mention his quote. He quoted Victor Hugo. He's a French poet. He's saying, "There is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come."
Until the time comes, you have to hold on to that idea.
It's time.
Now, definitely it's the time for Africa to shine.
That's
with the
he
celebration
said a lot in one sentence.
Definitely, yeah. and the deeds of arts is showing that the time has indeed come for Africa to shine and the African Media House to be established and to be put forward. Definitely.
Definitely. Definitely.
Truly. The next keynote speaker was Ato Amara.
Ato Amara Ragawi is the president of the Ethiopian Media Council. He also highlighted significantly on the importance of such media houses and growing the overall narrative of Africa. That was one of the points, the most significant points he raised.
Specifically said, claiming back the narrative of Africa and shedding light on the stories that are not being told.
Exactly. And a very interesting keynote speaker for me, I recently got really acquainted with him, was Mr. Julius Muchunguzi. He's the Undersecretary General of the Organization of the Educational Cooperation, or the OEC. So the OEC, just to give you some highlight, is working on promoting the South-South cooperation and overall educational cooperation and technological advancements in Africa and the South as a whole.
So that's true. I was truly amazed because Daniel Balaina mentioned in his speech that he was truly amazed that the OEC's launching day was so close to the 16th anniversary of AU.
What a coincidence.
Because their significance is as big.
So the OEC has significant importance in the growth of Africa. As I said, Mr. Julius Muchunguzi is the Undersecretary General of the OEC. He mentioned on his speech that arts is actually walking the talk of being an African media house. I quoted that with my ears, and I really loved the way he said it. And it was quite a vibrant speech by Mr. Julius Muchunguzi. He also mentioned that arts needs to be supported by stakeholders of the growing of African Union, and arts is indeed an African media house. He also mentioned that South-South cooperation cannot be possible without enabling the African Union, because significant proportion of the South is Africa.
That is truly beautiful.
And the OECD was one of our most significant partners on this event.
It was one of our VVIP guests to the event as well.
Definitely, yes. His Excellency Sheikh Mansour bin Musalam, the Secretary General of the OEC.
Graced us with not only his presence,
but his beautiful speech.
Yes.
It was truly captivating, and it truly gave me hope for my continent.
Yeah, definitely.
To see there's an organization that is this dedicated and this optimistic about the future.
And the organization really focuses on education. So education is something that would help us to uplift ourselves, know the kind of potential that we have as an individuals, as a human being, as Africans. And also it's one way of generating ideas, creative ideas, which are world-changing ideas. It can be anything, frankly speaking.
So as I mentioned earlier, His Excellency Sheikh Mansour bin Musalam, the Secretary General of the OEC, was our guest of honor. And his speech was electrifying and was really important. Well, as His Excellency mentioned quite significantly, he is not an African, but he's a person from the Arab world. Yeah, he's from the Saudi Arabia. But he kind of related it and resonated it with the Arab Union, that how a continent, how a group connecting over a common agenda of unity, of success and of prosperity has a resonating feeling with him personally, and he showed his significant support in that terms. He also commended the efforts of arts, and he also commended the wonderful speech his deputy, the undersecretary, made. It was a very interesting speech. I have to mention that
His Excellency
His
was
Excellency
a
is a
truly graceful and knowledgeable.
Yes, very graceful, very knowledgeable individual.
Kept everyone captive with his speech.
He's a very good orator. He really is.
He is.
Yeah.
I will witness that. And I remember this phrase where he said, "You can't say a homogeneous nation to be united because we're already homogeneous.
Exactly.
You can't differentiate one from another. So what are you saying about unity? We're already one."
So that is the mentality that we need.
Exactly.
Broken Zaga, you heard this conversation before.
Why are you doing this?
Our audience needs to know that me and Tsaga have a lot of near-fight conversation at the office.
But this is something you can agree on, and that
Definitely,
is
yes.
truly
Is
the
it?
captivating power.
Well, maybe it is.
Yes, we will try.
But truly, that is the captivating power of His Excellency, that he could find a common ground that all of us could agree upon.
Exactly.
And a common goal that we all can work towards. And education is a perfect place to start.
Exactly.
Definitely. He also highlighted the importance of growing local technologies and local scientific advancement and how to connect them with the modern technological advancement. His speech was really great. Very interesting part of the event was Mrs. Hirut Bafkaru was part of the group of people who were active during the formation of the OAU, the then OAU, now AU. Ms. Hirut had a very significant role in the overall formation of the OAU. And during her speech, she mentioned the importance of for the formation of the OAU and the then African leaders and their dream for the OAU and the importance. So it was one of the most important speeches by Ms. Hirut.
It was truly amazing because I had a chance to have a small conversation with Ms. Hirut at the event. She said something to me that stuck with me till this day. And it was that not many of us are left.
Yeah, Ms. Hirut.
She said, not many of us are left from the group of people who initiated or
Yes.
who were from the start of AU.
Yes.
And she said that she took it upon herself not only to come, but to share her idea and to share her thoughts on the stage. And it was truly beautiful and breathtaking. And one thing I would like to add is this is not the first time we presented Hirut on our platform. She recently had an interview with Atsalawar
on Africa,
in
yes.
Africa. And
Yes.
it is a truly moving and motivational
Definitely,
episode. And I
yeah.
suggest our audience to go back and visit
Yeah,
it.
so for the audience watching us on YouTube, we'll definitely put the link down on the description,
Exactly.
and they can watch it. Yes. So I think it's also very important to mention who was in attendance of this high-level diplomatic event, as Aga mentioned in the beginning of this program. Numerous ambassadors were here. Some I have to mention. It's before mentioning their names. Some of these ambassadors are from European countries, and European countries, South American countries. So it kind of highlights you that other nations outside of Africa also support the African movement, because the unification of Africa has a significant role in the overall growth of the world.
It has the direct
relation. You know, if Africa grows, immigration decreases, which is African immigrants have started to really cause a large amount of problems in Europe.
Exactly, and the other thing that will take attention, if Africa grows, Africa has more control over its resources. And
Definitely.
it's a very
Conscious
tricky
control.
situation.
It's a very tricky situation, but I mean, the economic growth of Africa is something that we have to consider, that Europe, the growth of African countries is something the Europeans and the Western world looks forward to significantly. I was reading some reports a few weeks ago that it showed, the report showed that these African countries, these European countries are struggling with large amounts of immigrants, especially from sub-Saharan Africa. So in order to control this large amount of immigrants going into Europe, European countries are supporting economic development in Africa. So that's
There's
kind
the
of
significance of them coming.
it has a large significance.
Okay,
So just to mention some of the dignitaries present, we had the ambassador, Mr. Alexander Zub, ambassador of Ukraine to Ethiopia. We had the ambassador of Uruguay, His Excellency Mr. Nestor Rosa. We had also the Armenian ambassador, Artem Zunarian, and we had other dignitaries from European countries, from the French embassy, we had also a representative from the American embassy. South Africa, we had representatives from Burkina Faso, Mozambique, Algeria, we had representatives from Russia. It was a very interesting event.
Yes.
And
it was,
attended with very, very, very important people.
So the other guest list that we cannot go without mentioning were the business owners and the company CEOs and the business tycoons. Okay, we had executives from Tzadei Bank, Oromia Bank, Abyssinia Bank, and we had executives from Safaricom Ethiopia.
Yes, yes.
And we had business tycoons, and we also even had representatives from universities across Ethiopia. So
yes, from BBC.
Yes, Brooke, I think you have a bit to say regarding that.
Yes, in fact, there is a huge significance of having such kind of guests, especially in such kind of big event, such kind of big celebration. So one of it being, as you have said earlier, the development of Africa impacts other part of the world. So you can please mention.
Yeah,
some.
definitely. Yeah, especially one of the people I appreciated the most in his previous job, His Excellency, former Ambassador Henok Tafarra, currently Chief Communications Affairs Officer for Safaricom, was present. His Excellency, the Ambassador, was former Ambassador of Ethiopia to France, and he had a very significant role in defending the Ethiopia's narrative in previous scenarios. And I really appreciated the way he articulates himself, and Safaricom got the right person for the job. Safaricom Ethiopia has the right person for the job.
Safaricom Ethiopia has been our partner.
Yes,
for
definitely.
a very long
projects,
time
yeah.
in many projects.
Definitely, yeah. We have to really appreciate what they've been doing. The ambassador was also seen with Mr. Amar Aragawi. They were having a good chat. They were like old friends reunited.
I mean, the whole point is that
The networking that you
Exactly.
created, one thing we have to understand, it's near to impossible to bring all this kind of people under one roof to discuss a single agenda.
Definitely.
And that agenda being Africa Day, and that agenda being presented and hosted by African Renaissance Television and in partnership with
blessing.
the Skylight Hotel is on itself. a
Definitely. By the
blessing.
way, I have to mention three companies here. One of them is, let me start with alphabets. One of them is African Renaissance Television Services. The other one is Ethiopian Airlines, which is the owner of Skylight Hotel. And the third one is Safaricom. Three of these companies are an example. These three companies are examples of what intracontinental trade can create. Arts is working to be the African media house. Ethiopian Airlines is
the
the
spirit
leader.
of Africa.
Not only in Ethiopia, but Ethiopian Airlines Ethiopian Airlines holds talks in many different countries in Africa in their airport services.
And the service
Yes,
is
definitely.
really amazing, yeah.
Ethiopian Airlines has a lot of stake in airlines across the continent, and Safaricom is
The definition
the definition of an African telecommunication company. And there are other telecom companies like MTN or Vodafone, which might be entering the Ethiopian market very soon. But Safaricom is one of the displays of how continental businesses can function. And
took the risk big time.
definitely, and now the launch of M-Pesa is going to create
A huge impact, yeah.
yes, it's going to create a huge impact in intracontinental trade as the M-Pesa defies currency barriers. So
I'm sure you'll be covering that.
definitely
very
on
detailed
African Business Cafe,
African
definitely, yeah.
Yes,
Business
we will
Cafe.
be expecting.
definitely.
And I'm sure you'll be covering.
On My Africa, we will be covering it.
Yes.
Yes, this is beautiful. So I guess we're moving to the cuisines.
Definitely. So, but before we go into that, I want to ask you guys: Have you ever guys tasted any African food?
Well, I have tasted
Tell us
Ethiopian
the
food.
truth.
I have tasted Ethiopian food, which is African food. Smart answer.
Alright, yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I understand what you were trying to say, but to give you an answer. So one of the things we have to notice is we cannot find other cultural foods locally. Brooke, I'm
that's
sure
the
you've
reason why.
noticed that.
Yes.
Skylight Hotel went out of its way to prepare cuisines from
Other African nations. Yes.
other
Yes.
African nations, but it is not easy to obtain on your day-to-day basis. As an Ethiopian, I cannot easily find a Kenyan a restaurant that specializes in Kenyan food. Or
Definitely, there are like 3 or 4 African restaurants.
specific, and those are even specific to a country.
And some even are expensive. So you
And
can't
they're
consume it
considered
every
as
day.
luxury food, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
And that's what really truly surprised me with Skylight Hotel, the Skylight Hotel Ethiopia. And I guess you got that all covered.
Yes, definitely.
Take it away.
And also, not to forget to mention that while inviting big guests, you should have, a suitable or equivalent food to, suit the guests that you have invited.
The protocol of the guests. yes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, the protocol of the guests. So I think, as you have said it, the main reason why we haven't ate or we haven't tried African foods outside of Ethiopia is because the first one is it's not easy accessible, and even if you get one, it might be expensive. So you have said it. Skylight Hotel Ethiopia prepared different African food. To mention some from North Africa, there's Algerian eggplant salad, and when we go to the south, there is lamb stew. And also lamb stew with tomato. I guess you guys tried that one, right? What you want it to be? Is it juicy? Should I even say?
Yeah.
There was some katfo too.
Yes, from East Africa.
I love
Yes.
I found it funny that Brooke did not decide to explore any other food.
Yes, he was
I
like,
like to stick with
that's
what
for
I
that.
know.
Instead of waiting for the
He said that he did. I tried Ethiopian food from
Yeah.
Africa.
I like to stick with what I know, man.
Take the risk to try
Yeah, I'm
something
not
new.
I'm not the adventurous type.
Okay, sure. Then you have Seder from East Africa. There is katfo tips and also gali. And when we come to the west, there is kasmans, fish stew, and also kaldo. And the other one is jollof. Fun fact that I'm going jollof rice.
Jollof rice.
So rice, yeah.
Rice.
Yes.
Okay.
So fun fact that I want to tell you guys:
Go
the
on.
name of the food jollof originated from this kingdom that existed back in the times, Senegambian kingdom, and the kingdom used to be called Jollof. Back then, that's why the food came. And still at this time, people can't settle which jollof rice is the best, either the Ghanaian or the Nigerian. But you see, our food has history.
Present in both countries.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, that's
So,
good.
and at the same time, it is food, it is culture, and at the same time, it holds history. 3 in 1, you call
Definitely,
it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which one was the favorite food that you guys tried?
Katfo.
Katfo. Sorry for asking. How about you?
I'll take a while, guys.
Probably the lamb stew.
Yes.
I saw you savoring on the lamb stew.
You can actually taste African the food because the rich texture, the spices that you can find some here in Ethiopia, right?
That you can see the flavor. And I
Yes.
guess that's what
so
makes
rich
us
texture.
unique.
Yeah.
And here at Arts Business Cafe, I want to invite other African restaurant investors to open up African cuisine restaurants
We will be
here
your
in Addis.
customers.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Even not only that, I am sure there might be some restaurant that specialize in African food that just do not get the voice that
Publicity,
they,
yeah.
the
They're
publicity
not
that they
explored
need.
yet.
Maybe
We're open to
Yes.
showcase your products, your food, your cuisine, your menu. Let's have some African food.
let's have some African
Now.
food.
Yes, sir.
The one other thing we cannot close the program without mentioning, I'm understanding we're getting to the end, is the vibrant dress code of the people.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yes,
It was
definitely.
truly a combination of color and culture
And the smile.
vibrance, and everyone was happy, singing, playing, and networking with each other. It was truly a sight to see.
Yes, it was an African event.
It
Truly
was
an African.
truly African and elevating African.
Like I was wearing some very interesting clothes. Demek, I was wearing some interesting clothes.
So were you. So were you. I guess Brooke's outfit was more of like Ethiopian and Kenyan kind of
It was
touch.
a combination.
Yeah.
It was a seamless combination. That was what we were trying to say. It was a seamless combination
By
of
the way,
cultures.
anytime.
By the way, when I was wearing it, I was asking you if I was properly dressed. Like it was showing the shoulder a bit, and I was like, "Is this the right way to wear it?" Apparently, I'm a fool with fashion. As you can see, apparently the only look I can pull off is a good suit and tie.
I guess you cannot go wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I think that's all. We're going to wrap it up here. So this was our recap of the 60th anniversary of the African Union and the 20th celebration of Africa Day. Saga, lead us out.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching us. And we would also love to thank every organization that collaborated with us, also the Skylight Hotel Ethiopia, to make this event come true and successful. So we would love to invite you guys to watch the full event on Sunday. And till we see you guys on a much bigger event, I think it's time for us to say goodbye.